Football is a violent sport. The long-term effects of taking all those hits has come under intense scrutiny ever since 2002, when Dr. Bennett Omalu, a pathologist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, conducted an autopsy on Michael Webster, a former NFL player with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and discovered that he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, which is a degeneration of the brain caused by concussions. The news sent shockwaves through the front offices of professional football. NFL executives knew that the findings threatened their business, conservatively valued at $100 billion. But what exactly was the fear? How could a few negative stories and a medical report bring down an empire? Will Smith portrayed Dr. Omalu in a movie called Concussion. In it, there is a scene where the NFL expresses their deepest fears to Dr. Omalu over a decade ago.
Do you have any idea the impact of what you're doing?
That has already happened, and the NFL is doing just fine because they aggressively work to change the rules to eliminate many of the vicious hits, to educate youth football programs and teach kids how to hit and tackle properly, and most importantly, they worked to quash as many negative news stories as they could. That's why the league was willing to shell out $1 billion to settle a class action lawsuit filed by 4,500 former NFL players. But you know what? The story still hasn't gone away. This summer, right before football camps opened across the country, the Journal of the American Medical Associations published a study where brains were donated from former NFL players. 111 were donated. 110 had CTE. That study, understandably, caused a new wave of fear among parents. In New Jersey, 3 high schools, West Windsor, Plainsboro, Pittman, and Ridgefield, all canceled their football programs for the year because of low participation. Millions of parents of boys and young men across the country are now dealing with the question, should I let my son play football? It is a question that I know very well. My son David plays football. He's only in the 5th grade. He is very good, and most importantly, he has a passion for the game. In the league he plays in, there are 9 teams, and the participation rate is down 50%. And concussions is all that parents talk about. Look, I understand there are parents out there right now who are watching this commentary and saying, how could you? And I get that feeling. Let me explain my reasoning. Concussions are caused by force, and force, as we know, is mass times speed. And at this age, these kids don't have mass or speed, which means I'm just putting off a difficult decision until high school. But there are a couple of other things to consider. Concussions are also a big problem in soccer, wrestling, hockey, and cheerleading. In fact, playgrounds are a major source of concussions. Just ask anyone who works in an emergency room at a children's hospital, and they'll tell you they wish that monkey bars didn't exist. It gets to the point that if you worry about every sport and every activity, you have to wrap your kids in bubble wrap and keep them inside. But none of that is to say I don't understand the inherent risk in football, and so does the NFL. They are experimenting with new protective helmets to reduce the risk of concussions. And the NFL is sponsoring the national Heads Up program for youth football to teach kids not to tackle with their heads. We'll see if it works. I'm hoping with millions of other worried parents that it does. Look, I know this is a topic that arouses passions. If you want to tell me what you think, I'm Larry M. at pmcmtv.com. That's Larry M. at pmcmtv.com. I'll share your comments next week. I'm Larry Menti. We'll see you then.